your turn a little bit, Ryan. All right, our freshman players this year, we have 8 that, 9. 9 that played the entire year for us, and these young men at times got very discouraged because Mother Nature truly has not finished their development. But I'll make a prediction of this group. The prediction will come true if they want to be basketball players. There is a tremendous amount of potential sitting right here. It hasn't grown, it hasn't developed, but they have guards, they have forwards, and they have centers. Most classes cannot say that. You may find a guard here or there, a forward here or there, a center. But these young men are, one, going to have to be in the weights. Second, they're going to have to play in the off-season. And they're going to have a burning desire to be basketball players. Not too many miles from here, there's a school by the name of Tri-Central who won their first 10 or 12 games this year, and when their freshman class, or their senior class now, when they're freshmen, they have not won a game for 2 years. Now, I think the question will be, how badly do these young men want to be players? Because we saw a lot of bright things out of them at times. It just simply mattered that we could not physically do the job all the time. But I felt like with Coach McKnight and these young men, I thought we saw a lot of progress. Now, if they wait until next October to continue, they will be lost. But if they will dedicate themselves in the summertime, in the off-season, along with the other activities they have to become better, this is going to be a fine bunch of players down the road. But they're going to have to be patient and work to develop. Brett Connor, Sean Denny, Tim Dwyer, Cody Holderman, Ryan McLean, Todd Musselman, Scott Ward, Brian Stockdale. I might mention that several of these young men did get some play on the JV and did quite well. Brian especially, once we got to use him this year, Brian played, I think, 1 week 7 basketball games, so we made up for the first half. And several did get experience on both teams, and I think it will be a valuable asset. So I'm looking forward to having these boys back, and I'm looking forward to the development that they're going to make. Second group is the fellows that played JV ball or JV. This group of handsome young men also played JV ball, and some of them played some varsity ball during the different parts of the year. And the same thing is true. We have a combination here of guys who need to work on the development, but again, we have the potential here, and we have some people here that are going to be very important to us. And again, I'll stress, and you'll hear me stress it several times, is basketball players are not made in October. Second, Jimmy Hires is not here tonight. Okay, Andy Keith. I probably should comment here about Andy. I pick on Andy all the time. I just simply just love picking on Andy. But if I were to have a young man who played on a very limited basis and to have the most fantastic attitude that you'll ever want as a coach, Andy Keith has it. And I'll guarantee he's a junior and next year as a senior, Andy Keith's going to be around me somewhere because he's a delightful young man, and I certainly appreciate the fact that he didn't get a lot of playing time. and he still had a tremendous attitude. Andy, you don't have to give me the $5 for tomorrow. Next, we have Southmore's Eric Barkerhut. Eric, here, if he would lift weights between now and next October, will be a factor for us. We hope he does. We have Scott Murphy. Scott's not here tonight. Jason Barberger, a freshman. We did an outstanding job playing basically JV ball. We did use him a few times with the freshmen, I think, very early. Steve Paul, another freshman, who played most of the time with the JV, also swung down and played with the freshmen, because the main thing is we wanted out of all the kids who were freshmen is to get the maximum quarters that we could get in. And you're allowed only so many quarters by the state of Indiana, and we tried to get that out of all these kids. And for most of them, we did a pretty good job of it. And finally, I would hate to leave the last guy out, Herbert Hunt, another sophomore. Here's a young man who really didn't play as an 8th grader, had problems as a freshman, knees. This year he started out and he really didn't resemble much of a basketball player. The thing about it is he loves to play the game, and he just kept working at it. By the end of the year, if I had to give or was giving a most improved player award, it would have to be to Herb Hunt. Again, we're searching hard for guards, and Herbie will do the things that we think he will do. You just might see Herbie a very key member of this ball club next year. We'll bring you up one at a time, I guess. I'll start out with the sophomore class. We'll just keep this alphabetical, so it won't be prejudiced. First of all, sophomore Chris Foster. Chris, come on up and talk to me. Chris had a certain portion of the season this year, a very, very strong season. He carried a little over a 10-point average for us until late in the year. And late in the year, he probably doesn't want to talk about too much. He really kind of just kind of slumped a little bit. But again, Chris is a young man that come a long ways for us, and we feel like now he'll pick up and go on and develop all his skills, because he is an outstanding shooter. And develops, he's going to have a fine career, because he did a fine job for us. And like I say, he did end up with a 10-point average due to a couple performances here late in the year, but Chris did an excellent job for us. Leon Guires, our other sophomore. Leon, again, played a lot of JV ball, and then he moved up, and we needed a defensive person when Bobby Maston went down. And he has tremendous quickness and eye-hand coordination, and again, he'll work on a few of the skills that we need, that he is going to be one of the key people next year, because of the fact he has the defensive talent we need. And Lord knows, when you give up 66 points a game, you need some defensive talent. And he is a young man that can give it to us if he will also develop the remainder of his skills. Bring our junior class, and first we'll bring up Chris Flaherty. And I can say an awful lot of things about Chris. Probably start with his girlfriend, but I won't. Chris, I'm always very difficult and hard on people who have an abundance of physical talent. And Chris has that, there's no question about it. It's getting Chris to develop it to his fullest. And I think this year when he realized that in the offseason he's got to pay the price, and now he's going to be the senior and have to take over a portion of leadership, as all these juniors will. And I'm looking forward to outstanding things out of Chris. But I think I have to give you his things that he's accomplished thus far. And this year he did set a couple of records for us. Chris did set a single game field goal record this year of 17. He did have, and I don't know yet until we get the state statistics, but he did have 41 consecutive free throws, and which is not only a school record, it's probably going to be one of the top 2 or 3 at least, if not the top consecutive free throw situation this given year. He broke our single season free throw record, which was he broke last year, and he rebroke his own this year, and it was 89%, which should put him in the top, depending, there was one kid shooting 93, 94% the last time I knew. So he should be, if not top, first, second, third, fourth, something like that, free throw shooters in the state this year. He was our team leader in free throws. He was our team leader in rebounds. He started the year as a Hoosier basketball All-State honorable mention. I don't think he did anything to hurt himself with his 18-point average this year. He did yesterday come up with becoming all-conference for the second year. He's the second team all-conference. And this, I think, next year, if we get the things we want out of Chris between now and then, he'll have no problem being first team in a lot of different categories, I believe. And Chris has to work to become a complete player. Now he's going to have to take over a large portion of the leadership of the team, and that's going to come with a lot of maturity. And that's what I'm expecting from Chris, and I believe he has that capability. Now let's talk Brandon. Turn the page, Brandon. Come on up. This guy may be the fruitcake of the group. He's driven me nuts. If there's a prank to be pulled, he'll pull it. And if there's a kid that's come a million miles in a given year, Brandon Small is it. And I'm not going into all the details. I'm not going into all the details of it. But I can't be happier with Brandon Smalling. He's got a great personality, and he now combs his hair a lot more than he used to for certain reasons. Because, you know, when you fall in love, you do all those kinds of things. But he just comes so far. He really has. And I think he's another one that we have to turn to for our leadership. And Brandon's going to have to do it between now and next October, which will be something different for him. And it's something that he'll have to do. And he has been a simple delight. I've been on him hard. He went through some real trying times with me. But what I like is how he developed out of it. And I'm just tickled to death with him. And Lord knows I have another year to go with these practical jokes, and he has plenty of them. Brandon averaged a little over 10 points a game in conference, 8 points something overall, got a bunch of rebounds for us, and his foot quickness made him probably our defensive star. That's a joke. Somewhere, Kurt Willis is our next player, and Kurt played off a reserve role early in the year, coming in as our sixth man, and he did a fine job for us. And then Bobby went down with a shoulder separation. He stepped in, and I thought he did a fantastic job for us in a lot of ways. He probably needs to learn to move the ball a little bit better, and I think that's something that he would work on his basketball skills over the basketball season he would do. When we got into the sectional game, he was a fierce competitor on the bench and on the floor, and this was something I felt was lacking, but Kurt really laid it on the line 100% in that sectional, and I was very, very happy for him. And you could see as the year went along, him starting to catch up, number one, and then once he caught up with his skills a little bit, then you saw him move ahead. And again, he's another kid who's going to be a senior who has never really lived with the basketball, and now he's got to either take the leadership role along with the other guys if we're going to have a successful program. Come down to my seniors, there's three of them, and I'll go out of alphabetical order here for a second, because one of them went home sick with the flu, and that was T.L. Minor. And T.L. was a young man who gave us a point and a half or so a game, but he was a kid who came in the summertime, and one of the very few we could get in, and our seniors did try to get our kids in the summertime, but we just didn't play basketball, so this game was quite empty. And our record indicated 2-9 to start the season, 6-3 after we finally put some things together. But they at least attempted it. TL was in, working on his post moves and his free throws, and for a long time he was shooting 80-90% from the free throw line. He kind of fell off the later part of the year, but I was very, very pleased with TL because it's hard for a senior to sit on the bench and to come in for a few minutes here or there. And when you get a senior do that, you know you have to be very, very happy for him, and you have to be very happy to have a kid like that. And he's one of my three seniors. Probably one of the kids that I'm most proud of over 19 years is Bobby Maston. Probably never seen a kid come so far. As a junior, he hardly played. Had a lot of things he had to go through. As a senior, he became probably the most loyal kid I've ever had. He would do anything for a team. Refused surgery on the shoulder. anybody has to have surgery on that shoulder. It's just money. I don't know what else you can say about Bobby. Guess I kind of like Bobby. The rest of them don't like Bobby, but I kind of like him. And finally, my last senior, and I have trouble getting through it, and I don't apologize to anybody for it. I believe in reading accomplishments, and I'll read them. For 4 years, he's led a team in assists, steals, scoring for 3 years. He's won 2 floor leadership awards. He's been listed as a freshman in the top 100 in Indiana. He made all conference as a freshman in the NEIAC, which is equivalent to the North Central Conference. Made a Bloomington Herald All-Junior Honorable Mention All-State team. He ranked 22nd in the state of Indiana as a freshman in assists. As a sophomore, he led the team in scoring, assists, and steals. He won the team's MVP and 4 Shipper Award. He was Hoop Scoop's top 14 sophomores in Indiana. His top 10 players are Marion Regional, both Hoop Scoop and Hoosier basketball. First team NEIAC conference, 8 players, first sophomore in the history of that conference ever to do it. And they've turned out a number of outstanding college players. First team all-section, both media and coaches. Bloomington Herald, all-junior, all-state. Fort Wayne Journal, all-area, all-state. State of Indiana, 3rd leading sophomore scorer in the state. 3rd leading underclassman in assists. As a junior, led a team in scoring, field goal percents, assists, and steals. Team MVP and captain award. Hoosier top 10 in Marion Regional. Hoop Scoop top player in the Lucas Sports Sectional. Second leading scorer in the Three Rivers Conference. All sectional, all conference, all Overland. As a senior, right now he ranks 17th in the state in scoring, probably first or second in the state of assists. Ranked second in scoring in the Three Rivers Conference, first in assists. Led team in field goal percentage, assists, points, and steals. First team, all conference. He will go down in the history of Indiana, has been in all the history of Indiana in the top 250 scorers in the state of Indiana thus far. He's now a candidate for the Indiana All-Star team, which is unlike other sports, you only have 12. In his career, he scored 1,328 points. In his career, he has 514 assists. In his career, he has 524 field goals, more than anyone here has ever had. He's established most points in the season, 503. Most assists in the season, 192. Most field goals in the season, 197. And probably the last award is the one that we probably picked on the most, especially the seniors tonight. Last week, he was named for the State Indiana Basketball Coaches Association's first team academic All-State. We laugh at that because he got a pink slip in English the other day. He's been selected, if it goes off, to represent North Central Indiana against the Big Ten All-Stars in April. It has to be approved by the NCAA to be carried off, but if it does, he'll be on the North Central All-Star team versus Big Ten All-Star team. Probably his only big problem is he played for his old man, and obviously he was favored. But his stats prove it. He's done the job. I'm very, very proud of Tim Carpenter. Our first 2 awards are the all-conference things you get, I guess it is. Chris, will you come forward and get your medal for all-conference? Tim, will you come forward and get your medal for all-conference? Our next award is for free throw percentage. Chris with 89% is our free throw winner. Again, I remind you that is the school record, and he will rank at the very top of the state. when that comes out. Our third award, to show you how well these guys got along, they voted, they get a vote for one award. They and the other two coaches voted on this award, mental attitude. And it got down to the point when they voted, 5 of them received votes. 3 of them were within 1 vote of each other. 2 were right one behind the other. The 2 coaches voted separately. I got some hello, made him call Mike. He had to vote. He waited about 4 days before he called me back with his ballot. With Coach McKnight, he balloted. But it all came down to it all came out in the wash. Sorry, Brandon, I just missed it. Yeah, no. When it all came out, it came down to a 2-way tie. And we had to decide. And if I had my way about it, I probably would have had to throw in one more vote and I made it a 3-way tie. But I left it because the 2 people did lead us in 2 different ways with mental attitude. One led us by example. One led us because he pained so much when we lost, I think. And William meant so much. And I couldn't separate it, and the team didn't really separate it because they had 3 of them, 2 seniors and 1 underclassman. One note on one of the things said, the guy who didn't get it with 1 short vote, to be honest with you, made the most improvement of any kid I've ever seen. And they wrote that on there. And so it came down to a 2-way tie. We went ahead and gave 2 awards for 2 completely different reasons, because the kids voted and the coaches voted, and it came out a complete tie. Bobby and Tim. Our other award, our 2 free throw and MVP is statistical awards. And you just don't argue the statistics when you get down to it. We put a point value on everything and come up with it. Our most valuable player, Tim Parmeter. Lastly, I told us talk an hour. That's too bad, I guess. I've got 2 groups of people to thank. One is in the hospital, Mr. Rensler. And we came down to sectional week. I don't know whether right or wrong. It really don't make any difference whether it's right or wrong. But normally you have pep stations, you decorate, things like that. And that wasn't done. And Mr. Rensler called the players out and the cheerleaders out in the last period of the day. And talked to them a while and said, hey, we're behind you, but we're going to give you some time off, go on home, get yourself ready to play a game. And that meant a great deal to them, meant a great deal to me. And hopefully he's all right, and definitely want to thank him. The other thing was probably something that hit these kids pretty hard was we were watching film the night before the sectional, well, 2 days before the sectional, they came in, and the locker room was all decorated. And they didn't know who did it. And the day of the sectional, the day before, they're watching film. I walk in, they shut the projector off and their film thing off, and they said, you know, what are you doing? You don't ever do that. And I said, we're going to the cafeteria. When they said, oh no, I won't say what else they said. They said, oh no, they said, we're going in there, we're going to be gentlemen, we're going to say thank you. All the curtains were pulled. They walked in, they made the seniors go first. Brandon shut them because he don't want to go first. He shoves the seniors in there, and you saw them stop, and their eyes got about that big. I don't know what they expected. I know what they expected because Flaherty says, can I give them all a kiss? He calls the cheerleaders. But it wasn't. It was the mothers. Our mothers got together and had a big party for them and pizza and everything like that. And this group of guys don't keep their mouths shut for 5 minutes. They didn't open it for 15. They would shove food down their mouth. But they didn't. I've never seen a group of guys taking so much. Their mothers came in, decorated locker rooms. They came in, they fixed the food. And the ones that couldn't come, they donated stuff. And it was really a fantastic thing. And in 19 years, it's probably the nicest thing I've ever seen done for a group of players. And I don't know whether they all thanked the mothers, but I can tell you one thing that they really did appreciate it. This group of guys right here, I'm very proud of them. We started the year off rough. There was 2 seasons. Once we finally got caught up, they were 6-3 at the end of the year. You can always tell when things start going good, they all fall in love, they all stand in front of the mirror, they all got girlfriends, and everything was nice and rosy. In the 3 games we did lose, we lost 1 in overtime, and 2 others we had a chance to win. The challenge is now with the junior class, which are going to be seniors. The challenge is whether or not they want to start out 2-9 next year with a tougher schedule we got this year because we pick up Fort Wayne, Concordia, and Northwestern to replace the Winnemac and Caston. So the challenge is what they want to do between now and then, because that's where this basketball team next year is going to be made. But this has been a very good bunch. It has a lot of potential if they want to pay the price. Thank you very much. My managers, hold up. Gee, Merry Christmas, where my managers at? Well, Tommy, John. Here? You were to be introduced before the sophomores. First of all, Jason had to do all our filming this year and really did a nice job for us in our filming and worked hard. John tried to keep Scott Murphy, his girlfriend, in line, and that was about what he got accomplished this year. But he took care of all the ball cleaning. And the last guy, Ryan Land, I would be terrible if I missed him. Tommy, step up here, please. This guy right here, ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea how you replace somebody that when it comes time on Thursday, first of all, he's got things packed. He walks in, he says, Coach, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? I absolutely, for 2 years, have done nothing in the way of equipment, the way of, well, I do some laundry, but once in a while that, but basically nothing. He does the inventory, he makes sure everything is there, just, it's fantastic. Tommy Lutz is going to Wabash, he's going to manage probably football and basketball there, and Arnold Lawson is there again. And this guy cannot be replaced. I don't know how he can be, but Tommy Lutz has been a blessing to me, has taken a lot of work off of me, and I want you, if you would, to give him a special round of applause. The captain's award goes to 2 seniors, Bobby and Tim. Captain. We forget everything. Now, Bobby said the ball didn't go through the net, he didn't score either. Okay, fellas, we're done. Thank you.
For starters here, I know it's been a while since you stood up, so I want everybody to stand up straight for a minute here. Okay, if you please be seated. Before I get started, Mr. Dubois would like me to mention once again to the parents that we are going to have a lift-a-thon. And we'll be making the teams tomorrow morning, and then we'll post the teams out on all the bulletin boards, and encourage your child to please get out and get the donations for the lift-a-thon. The junior high lifts April 9th, and the high school lift April 10th. And first of all, the money goes back to the wrestling room to help buy some more weights and refurnish the rates, and the rest of them go to the athletic department. So we need your help in the lift-a-thon. Second thing, Coach Parmier was afraid he was taking too much time, so he didn't want to read this little article that he clipped out. I'm not afraid of taking too much time, so I'll read it. You can really fit this into any sport, but the title is How to Be a Basketball Mother. It says, mothers of basketball players live by a unique set of rules, different from those of basketball fathers. Fathers can yell, stamp, scream, swear, and attack the ref. Mothers cannot. During the years that my son played basketball, our house was still 3 feet from indoor dribbling, and it still lifts to one side. 2 priceless antiques were shattered for inept ball handling. I broke my ankle when a basketball was left in a dark hallway, and I spent $4,528.82 on Adidas shoes. Over those 4 years, I had to observe certain clearly articulated rules. Number 1, never swear, Mom. Moms don't swear refs. Oh yeah? Number 2, do not yell out personal pet names, especially honey, when I'm out on the floor. Once, in one of those strange still moments in the gym, a voice, mine, rang out loud and clear to the boy on the foul line. Come on, honey, make it! 2,000 heads turned to stare at me. My son's head disappeared somewhere in his chest. He made the shot, but didn't speak to me for about 3.5 weeks until he ran out of clean gym socks. Number 3, do not yell too loudly. Mothers are not supposed to be loud. You can yell, but let your voice blend in. It isn't always easy, this blending in, especially when the score is tied, 1 minute left on the clock, 1 ref is blind. But my son's senior year, I was getting A's in blending in. I am now ready to join the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Number 4, if someone sitting behind you criticizes me, do not make a scene. Don't hit him with your program and don't get nasty. Pretend you didn't hear him. Pretend I didn't hear him? Impossible. I once moved over so hard that the loud house fell off the end of the bleachers. He was the guy who made a crack about my son's hairstyle. I've made several scenes in my time, but only when my son didn't know where I was sitting. By the end of his basketball career, no one near me ever said, "Who is that kid?" They knew. Number 5, the most important rule of all. Mom, I know you love me, but no matter what happens to me, don't come out on the floor. Even if I'm bleeding from the ears, even if I'm dying, even if I'm dead, don't run out on the court yelling my name. Funny, the one time he was hurt, I met the stretcher at the gym door, and how happy he was to see me. Some rules are, of course, easier to follow. Number 6, be sure I have 6 clean pairs of gym socks, Mom. Number 7, be sure my uniform's clean, Mom. Number 8, be sure you're on time, Mom. Number 9, be sure my lucky shirt's ready, Mom. Number 10, be sure to have my toast and tomato soup ready before I leave, Mom. Number 11, bleach my shoelaces, Mom, but not enough to make them break. Number 12, get 6 packs of gum, Mom. Number 13, get home before me, Mom, in case I need to talk. And then there is the one unspoken rule. Love me, Mom, whether I was good or bad. That's the rule that made being a basketball mother worth everything. We can thank Mr. Barmier for that little article. And while I'm on the subject of Mr. Parmeter, I would personally like to thank Mr. Parmeter for several things. It's very easy to work with someone who is as cooperative as he is, even though he does hate, first of all, girls basketball, most of all in this world, and number 2, girls basketball coaches. It's still nice to work with a guy like that who's cooperative and lets me have gym time when I need it. When I go and talk to other coaches of girls sports, they can't believe that we get to practice after school. That's almost unheard of in a lot of different school corporations. I'm glad Mr. Parmeter hasn't heard of that yet, or if he already has, he's ignoring it. But anyway, in all seriousness, I do really thank Mr. Parmeter for all the help he's given me. There's lots of times we just sit down and talk about basketball, and I really do appreciate that. And some of the girls will tell you that on section line we're going to do a few things a little bit different. He took time out from his practice to help us work on a little bit different defense. So those are just a couple of the things that he's done for me, and I really do appreciate it. For those of you people who never attended a home basketball game for the Lady Warriors here this year, I'm sorry that you missed all the excitement. There were things like run-throughs made by the cheerleaders. There was a spotlight at every game. And even one time we were fortunate enough during the Peru basketball game to have ESPN cover us on national television. So for those of you who don't get cable, you missed that also, but you could have been there in person to watch it. And we'll get to the announcers of ESPN a little bit later on. Another person I'd really like to thank is my assistant coach, Steve Lynn. Coach Lynn had the job this year more than I've ever done in the past of just giving him my reserve team and telling him fundamentals that I wanted taught. He was in charge of teaching him those fundamentals. So So what I'd like to do at this time is introduce to you the junior varsity squad, which ended the season with a 10-5 record, and also on a great note by winning the Castle 4-way tournament. So the members of the junior varsity, Tammy Schaefer, you come forward and you guys can take these things up here. Mindy Whitmire, Tammy Rumpel, Mindy Deeds, Dina Miner, Sally Jackson, Heather Dunnick, Robin Migrant, Tanya Paul, Christy Toot, Carla Henry, Erin Henry, Linda Spurgeon, Okay, and here's our junior varsity squad. Again, they end the season at 10-5 and Castle 4-way champs. I know who you did that. You didn't want to come up with you guys. I'm just kidding, I'll play you now. Okay, the varsity record this year was 10-10, and that's the first time in 11 years that the girls basketball team in the schools had a winning record. We ended up second in the Rochester tourney and second in the Whitco tourney. At the beginning of the season, I went through the teams that we were going to play, and my prediction was that if we do really well, we'd end up 12-8. But we lost the two games that I thought we'd win. We lost to Manchester in overtime, and we lost the last regular season game to Oak Hill by a point. And those are two games that I had us picked to win. So we didn't do that bad at all, especially after ending up 6-13 last year. Now, for the members of the varsity squad, as each girl comes up, I try to go back through the scorebook and through the stat books and pick out the highlights for that girl's games and then mention some things about that girl. So I'll list those things as they're walking up here. It won't take me very long to list the seniors because this year's team, we only had one senior, and that senior was Sarah Hurst. Sarah was co-captain of this year's team. She led the team in scoring with 254 points. She became the all-time leading scorer at North Miami with 755 points. She is the single-season leader in steals with 76 steals. She led in assists this year with 44, and she led in plus points with 177. And I think I explained last year, plus points, you take all the good things they do, and you subtract all the bad things they do, and you come up with a plus point rating. Okay? Of the 14 plus categories on the team, Sarah led us in 10 of those categories. The juniors on this year's basketball team, first junior is Natalie Radel. Natalie was another co-captain of our team this year. She led us in rebounds with 123. Big games for Natalie. She sank 2 free throws in our very first game of the season, which was rescheduled for a Saturday. Whitco came in on a Saturday. We were 13 points down with about 2 minutes to go. The team fought back. With 8 seconds to go on the clock, Natalie was at the foul line with a 1-and-1 and made both free throws. And the funny thing is, a little bit later on in the season, I was kind of kidding Natalie about stepping up there so calmly and seeking those free throws. I said, that was really great, Natalie, because the other coach called a timeout to ice you, and you just stepped right up there and hit him. She said, ice me? What's that mean? I said, yeah. But she didn't know what that meant, so that was good. She wasn't nervous at all. Another big game for Natalie was against Oak Hill. She had 17 points in 14 rebounds, and I couldn't figure out who was in Natalie's uniform. Natalie just went wild that game, and I was glad. She also makes up one half of our Twin Towers, okay? This year, Natalie, she did really mature as a ball player. I was hoping some things would happen with Natalie this summer as far as a ball player, and they did. But she needed to come through for us in a lot of ways. She really did. Next year, she's going to have to take up a lot of slack as far as being a senior. As you'll see, we have about 6 juniors here who have to take up a lot of slack. Second half of our Twin Towers is Karen Ward. If Karen ever realizes how strong she is, she'll be a maniac after that. You know, I keep on thinking, of different ways to make Karen mad enough to go out to play. She just smiles at me and she says, I know, Coach, I know. I think I'm going to put her in a corner one of these times, poor game, and just smack the snot out of her and see if that does any good. She'll probably hit me back. She's lifting those weights now. Anyway, Karen was second in rebounds with 110. Her big game was 18 points against Wabash. And like I said again, Karen and Natalie are going to be a big part of our program next year if they just realize how much talent they each have. Third junior, Missy Pryor. Missy was third in rebounds, and the thing with Missy, she usually drew the other team's biggest offensive threat down underneath the basket. In fact, one of the most memorable games that she probably had was in the Peru game, where Peru only had one big offensive star, and that was a girl named Green. And I told Missy about a week before we played that was her girl, and she really did have her frustrated. Even the boys on ESPN noticed that we were going into the box and one and just had her totally frustrated. Missy and Ann kind of switched off during that game. But Missy's big job for me this year, and I told her that before the season ever got started, was that she needed to be very, very aggressive on the defense and keep the team as far as under control on the defense and so forth, and she did a good job of that, and I was really proud of her. Missy's one of my most improved players this year. Probably if I would have been writing down the starting lineup last summer, Missy Pryor would not have come to mind because of, all the other players coming back and so forth. So she was a real pleasant surprise this year. I was really glad. Her big game came at the end of the year when we played Eastern. She had 14 points. And again, like I said, Missy usually drew the other team's best player. Ann Dubois is another junior. Ann Dubois showed a lot of improvement this year. Coach Quartmeter mentioned that Brandon Smalley kind of kept things loose with his team, and I think Coach Dubois mentioned Nick Cancer. We can add Ann Tuba Dubois to this group. I know a lot of times, if you came to our games, you're probably wondering why we were laughing on the bench. It's not because the game was so comical. It's just that the comments that were being made while she was sitting there kind of broke us up every once in a while. And even though you try to keep a straight face, it's kind of hard with some of the comments that Ann came up with. Pretty quick. I can imagine how things are at home. Linda, I feel sorry for you. But anyway, Ann's one of those people that she just has the right comment for the right time and kind of keeps things light. It really does help to have somebody like that on the team. And like I said, if you want a rebound, or you want somebody kept away from the basket, that's what you tell Ann to do. And I guarantee you that they won't get close to the basket, and Ann will get the ball. She did a good job this year. I was really proud of her. Another junior on the team, Bev Connor. Bev filled in most of the time for our guards up top. She's a very hard worker in practice. If I could just get Bev to understand that practice is just exactly what I want you to do in the game, Bev would be a terror out there. She's probably one of the toughest practice players I have. People from the community would be able to come in and watch our practices. They'd be asking me all the time, why doesn't Bev Connor go out there and take somebody's spot? I don't know. Bev Connor's a nice kid. Bev Connor likes to laugh a lot. But Bev Connor's a good ball player. I just don't think that she's realized her potential yet. She does great in practice, but she tries to be, I think, a little bit too nice in the ball games. However, I think if she practices a little harder this summer and gets set in her mind what she could do a good job for us next year. And she did do a good job this year, filling in, running the press, and setting up the offense. So again, I was proud of that too. Next we go on to the sophomores. And the first sophomore is Leanne Gordon. Leanne was second in scoring with 156 points. She was first in free throw percentage at 67.5. And Leanne's job this year was the same thing I made Sarah do last year, was play both small forward and guard, depending on what type of team we were playing and what kind of offense we were using and who else was in the starting lineup. So Leanne kind of had to learn how to play underneath too. But Leanne has a lot of good moves underneath the basket. She's able to get open when she wants to, and she's a good free throw shooter. We're looking for good things from her next year. The other sophomore, Cheryl Case. Cheryl was second in plus points. She was second in field goal percentage. She was second free throw percentage. She was second steal. She was second in assists. She was my point guard most of the season. Cheryl's the type of kid that's very unemotional. I never know what's going on in her mind. You know, we could be ahead by 1 point with no time on the clock and the other team at the foul line, and you don't know whether Cheryl's excited or depressed. You know, she just keeps that straight face. She knows what I want her to do. She gets the job done. She's a very steady ball player, and again, Cheryl did good things for us this year, a big part of our success. I already mentioned, I think, that we were runner-up in the Rochester and Whitco tourneys. These girls destroyed Peru in the sectional, and then we lost to McConaughey in the semifinal round. As far as I'm concerned, it was a very good season for us. Outwardly, I saw very little complaining or bickering. I don't know what went on behind the scenes. But if you look at this team, just one senior and the rest of this talent returning, we should have a good season next year. And I'm all excited when I think about next season and what these girls could accomplish. I've said this ever since this group, especially the junior group, ever since they were freshmen, that as soon as they're seniors, we should have us a sectional championship, so I hope that comes true. Other people that report to our program, Sabrina Brown and Lee Neff, were managers and also kept stats. If you two would come forward, please. And Lita Higdon also was a manager for us. Angie Howard isn't here tonight, but she kept our scorebook at the home games. And a few games we had Rita Lippold filling for us. Mr. Carlson was our timer. And for the nationally televised game for ESPN, we had guest commentators Tim Parmeter and T.L. Miner and Tom Lutz. T.L. wasn't on the ESPN team, but sometimes he filled in as announcer. But Tim and Tom did all the announcing for the ESPN crew. And if some of you want a good laugh, just let me know. I've still got that tape down in my office. The only bad thing about it is they had some real crummy halftime guests. Those people just, didn't know what they were talking about, but I guess those are the only people that could pull off the streets to come up and speak during halftime. Again, if you want to know who those guests were, you can ask them for the tape and I'll let you listen to it. Okay, going on to the awards part. First of all, I've already mentioned this. Our captains this year, I took a chance this year with one of these girls because I, again, expected good things from this girl. And I wanted her to realize that I did have a lot of trust in her and a lot of faith in her. And that not only goes as far as her as a person, that goes for her as far as a basketball player too. And that girl is junior Natalie Radel. Natalie did a good job for us as captain this year, one of the co-captains. And the other night, or last night at the TRC banquet, Natalie was also voted honorable mention. Okay, the other captain on this year's squad has been a 4-year starter here at North Miami, 3 years for me, and 1 year before I came. I've already mentioned most of her stats, leading score and leader in steals and assists, and that girl is Sarah Hurst. And again, last night at the TRC banquet, Sarah was voted second team of conference. And we had one other award last night at the conference banquet, Southmore. Leanne Gordon, this is her second year she's been voted honorable mention in TRC. The next award, you can't call about that because it's done by statistics, and this girl has the free throw percentage the whole season. She's a good shooter. I look for good things from Leanne in years to come, and that her percentage was 67.5. The next award is the Leading Rebounder Award. It was close all year long. In fact, Mr. Lynn, again, is a big help. He does my stats for me, and I think at Christmas time, just before Christmas time, we had 5 people who were only separated by 2 or 3 rebounds, okay? But in the final statistics, the leading rebounder this year with 123 was Natalie Radel. 254 points this season and a career total of 755 that goes to Sarah Hurst. Okay, again, the last trophy is the Most Valuable Player Award, and I let my team vote on this trophy. It's kind of like Coach Dubois said, it takes the pressure off the coach, and you see what your players think of each other this way. And this year is the second year in a row this girl's won this award. The Most Valuable Player for this year goes to Sarah Hurst. I just want you just to take a moment here and look at this crew. As a coach, you always hate to see certain players go, and you like to see certain players come. And ever since I've been here in North Miami, I've been with this group here. The freshmen, they were my first group here. These kids kind of have a special place in my heart. I look for real good things from this team next year. I'm thankful for the season we had this year. I said to myself after last season, if I ever have a season like that again, I'm going to give up coaching because of all the things that went on. And I had a long talk with a lot of these girls over the summertime. I had talked with some of them that came in before the season started, and I said, look, last year's over, those things are done. I want us to forget those things. I want us to understand how good we are, how good you can be, and what talents you have. And along with you and your parents and all of us working together, we can have a good season. And I don't know how they feel about it, but I can truly say in my heart, practices, even though I'm tough on them and I yell at them, and the games I scream at them, and you might think I'm a real creep out there and that they would hate my guts, and maybe they do, I don't know. But when it comes down to the bottom line, these kids are big kids, and there's not one girl on here that didn't do anything I asked her out here this year. And I know there's a couple times that I screamed at them real loud. I remember one incident when we lost the first game of the Whitcoe tournament. I thought we should have won it. We were supposed to run a play, a big run, and I jumped all over a couple of them really bad. And now that I think back on it, 5 of them might have walked out the door, but they didn't. They just sucked it up, and they came out in the next game, and they just destroyed Cherubusco. It shows you a lot of character about this group. This group is really special. They have a special place in my heart, and I really do appreciate the season that they gave me. And again, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times already tonight, but I do look for good things from this group. And let's just give them one more big hand.
Before we close, I have a couple special awards that I would like to present. I don't think anything epitomizes athletics the way an athletic awards jacket does. It's something that most of us who had the opportunity to earn one save, and something that you'll never really let go as long as you live. It's something that you'll always remember. We have 2 people today who have earned their athletic award jackets. I would like them to both come forward at this time. Representatives of the jackets. Girls, first off, Bev Connor. Bev. We have 1 male award goes to Kurt Willis. Kurt. I'd like to have you give both these young people a round of applause. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. Had a nice turnout. Appreciate all of you coming here and sharing your experiences with each other. Have a safe evening tonight. We'll see you later.